Hello everyone, welcome in LightCode channel and welcome in a new tutorial. In the previous tutorial we talked about Blade template engine and how we can use the Blade template engine and benefit of Blade template engine, and also we talk about if conditional structures. Today we talk about three types of loop, structure loop, for loop, each for loop, and here forles loop. For starting, I start with this for loop. I go to the VS Code. You can see the structure of this for loop. So I go back to the VS Code, and in the VS Code I create a new loop here by @ for. It suggested for us this. You can see for loop, for each loop, for less, and you can see this in for must be here. Here we set our condition. So I say, for example, si must be 0 and end by semicolon, and here many of iteration. So I say $, for example, si then less than 10, and then end by semicolon, and here $, I plus plus, and we here set our information which we need to show or display for the user. So I say h3 tag, this tag, and say here hi everyone, for example, and go back here. Yes, this okay, and I refresh our project. So I say here localhost. It is suggested for us from the previous section, previous lesson. Yes, you can see this for iterate 10 times our information. You can see this for how it's work. Now, if I need, if I make some create some simplicity here, so I go to the VS Code and create here a new array. For example, shoes, or anything. For example, $t, name of variable, and say I create array. For example, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and ended by semicolon. Here, for display element of this array, must be create array here and make and add for it this array key. So I say create a new array and create a new key by string, for example, key, if not, save it for if not. So I say here, and it indicate $t, this variable $t. Okay, and I use this $key in the Blade templated here by using count helper. So I say I remove this and I say count this helper, iterate our element in the array. I set this key here and refresh our project. You can see here it show us 1, 2, 3, 4 element, because our array have here 4 element. You can see here how we can use for loop for display information. In the second part, we will use this another loops. We name it for each. So this structure. You can see here this structure. So I go back to the VS Code and create a new array here. For example, Control X, I commented it. Here I say create a new, for example, some product $, shoes, and create a new array and ended by semicolon. And in this array I create another array. I name it, say, for example, excuse me, calibrate, break it, and remove this and name category, for example, category, for example, kid, men, woman, any name, for example, of woman, and for example, indicate, let me add this, and color, added color, and here I indicate, for example, red, excuse me, red. And here I add for complete this work price I indicate as 1000, and after that comma, and repeat this for 3 times, C, and here I say Control V. What happened here by this set? Let me check ST shoes. Oh, I correct this. I say category men, and color must be green, for example, green, and the price increase to 3, and for example, copy, Control C, and repeat again, Control V, and category change it to kids, and the color, for example, blue, and price very expensive, 6,000. Okay, we have a complex array. I copy this variable, Control C, and add it here, Control V, and make this shoe $, for example, shoes. Okay, I use this in this template for each. Now I need to create a new for each loop, or at sign for each. You can see completed. I use these variables with let me delete this, and you choose with copy and Control C, and go back to the product product, and here I say $, and Control V, and here I say, for example, shoes, $, shoe, not shoes, shoe, and okay. So I need to display this information here. I say H3, for example, and calibrate it, double calibrate it, and copy this here, and Control C, and add it here, Control V. And for example, I need to show the category. So I say category, for example. I wish it worked fine. So I go back to the VS Code and refresh. Yes, women, men, and kids. You come back to the VS Code and get a glimpse here our category men, women, and kids. So if I repeat this here and add this dash here and copy this and Control C and add this here, Control V, and for example add a color, for example, if I correct this then, so I refresh this here. Yes, red, green, and blue. You can see here we get ability to show our information which is stored in array by this structure, by using this structure for each list, for each loops. Also in this loop using very extent in the programming in the framework, but the third type of for loops is we named it, for example, forles. I suggested use this forles because these have a facility. We make it very important for us. So I use this for this example. So I remove this here and create a new example, controller. Yes. Okay, I create a new for each. So I say assign for each less. I use this less. Here it create for us a new opportunity. I show you that by for each and for each loss. So let me use this information here for each. Where is for each? For each. Use this for saving time. Control C and here Control V and remove this from here. And in this I say for example H3 and show for us this. Control C and add this here. You can see here and here say H3 nothing. Okay, let me refresh our project. I remove this for price, for example, price, and refresh our project here. You can see here display price for us here. But what this for loop imported for us? Let me show you by executing this command. If I remove comment from this, for example, let me create a new for us for each $$ for each. I created this here and I say $$ shows s and shows $. Show SE. Okay, and for example, repeat it for us. Control C and Control. And I commented it for now. Control C. Okay, if you can see here, I repeat this here for showing what is this imported for us. I refresh our project. You can see here it display for us. So if for example I go here and remove this no anything, for example I remove this, copy this and make it empty. I make it this array empty. What happened? Let me show you that. If I refresh this, it show nothing for us. This does not say us nothing here. But if use these for each loops, this for each, let me show you that. Where is? But if use for each loops, it say us nothing here. Let me show you that in practical manner. So if I remove this from here and from here and refresh our project, you can see it say us nothing here, nothing, array is empty. You can see here array is empty, but for each loop does not have any facility, any opportunity, any chance, any information. Because for this, I suggest you use this for less than for each less. This for is better because these have this opportunity, this facility to tell us what happening in the array. So another thing remaining, I wish to show you, which mentioned in the Laravel documentation, we say each loops, variable loops, opportunity, this property here, you can see here, these loops, what is the loops variable? While iterating through as for each loop, each loop variable will be available inside of our loop. This variable provides access to some useful bits of information, such as the current loop index and whether this is the first or last iteration through the loops. This structure of loops, how we can use loops, I will use loops in this for each. And here, this property which this loop variable use for give us some information, you can see this property in the Laravel documentation. Now I will use this loop in this this variable in this for each less loop. So I go back to the here, for example, I say this structure I will use. Let me show you that this structure loops, and for example I use this property index, this property, Control C for saving time, and here I add it here. For example, I say double collaborators and dash for beauty, and here I added this here v. This loop, where is this loop? Okay, this loop. I remove this space from here. Okay, this loop will show index of the current element of our project. Let me show you that. I remove a comment from this and this. Okay, I will show you how we can use the loop variable. I refresh our project again. You can see it add for us element of the index of the our array. So if we use this property, let me show you that, iteration instead of index, for example, iteration, it started from 1, not from 0. Control C and go back to the VS Code, and here iteration instead of index. Control V. Also, I remove this again. Yes, this correct. Now I refresh our project, I think. Yes, we can see here the iteration property started from 1, 2, 3, 4. If I add some element to our project, for example, if I copy this, Control C, and add this here, V, and for kids, color, for example, blue 2, and price very expensive, for example, for testing, not expensive, and for example, blue or brown. Brown. Okay, and refresh our project again. You can see added 4 for us. I think this enough for this tutorial, because the video very big, and I thank you for watching this tutorial. And if this tutorial is useful to you, please support us by subscribe or share or other things. Thank you for watching again, and I wish nice happy or good happy or good moment for you. Goodbye.